very quickly, the transmission mechanism needs to be much more aggressive coming from the PBOC and also coordinated from Beijing. And we're a long way away from addressing the depressed consumer household and mainland China business sentiment that's been quite weak for some time for obvious reasons. And one of those are the largest property construction collapses the world's ever seen, and the lack of focus in policies in the past at getting domestic demand as a bigger contribution to economic activity going forward. Because to counter all of that, China's got the best export sector in the world and the most lean, efficient, cost-effective energy transition export sector possible. So X minus M, as the economists would say, is in their favour, and they're very much elite there, but that's been at the cost of domestic demand and the consumer weak sentiment. So they need to be targeting that household, which they did with that mini bazooka 10 days ago. They need to target to turn around sustainably the sentiment that's quite weak at the household level. So much more is required, and this is a 3, 5, 7-year repair, and it just can't be fixed very quickly, but much more and aggressive policies, again, at the household level to address that sentiment that's quite weak.
Indeed, indeed. And you know, when you looked at the trade data and the performance of the trade data, where obviously exports came in lower than expected, imports were a no-show as well. What does that mean ahead of the all-important election risk? Because with tariffs, that trend is only likely to decline.
It's a bad monthly trend to extrapolate, but take a step back. The Chinese export sector is one of the most efficient in the world, and they spent decades getting ready for this to be able to undercut and to deliver high-end technological or energy transition solutions to the West. So that's reality, and obviously the trade wars that have been ongoing in variation since 2017 that have been amplified under the Biden administration that are going to continue. So that just shows you that tension will be front and centre for some time to come on the back of the success of that export sector. But again, we're not extrapolating just 1 month's data, but we are all looking for, and have been for some time now, where are the policies to help domestic demand and the consumer in mainland China, or GNE, as the economists will say? How do we get that mainland China domestic demand going? And it's always been lagging, or it's not there. So the policies recently to address that, obviously we got a little bit excited about it because that was a major pivot from Beijing and the PBOC and policymakers in general to try and attempt some policies to turn around. And that comes with house prices in mainland China, and they have to address that, employment for youth, to get that confidence level to turn around, because that confidence just doesn't flick like a switch. It really needs a lot of policies consistently to create a wealth effect for mainland China, and that wealth effect to be sustainable. But we're a long way from that, and much more is required.